Welcome back. You're watching our special presentation, The Young Turks Mentor, with Vineet Nayar, the former CEO of HCL Tech and the founder of the Sampark Foundation. While fail fast, fail often might be the new mantra in the entrepreneurial world, but embracing failure and learning quickly from it should be your biggest goal. In this segment, Nayar takes our entrepreneurs through the paces and stresses on adapting a granular approach. Take a look.
When an entrepreneur starts his journey, the reasons could be different. And as you grow up, those reasons change. So in my first startup, I thought I can take on Revlon and become bigger than them, right? Foolish dream. Didn't have the resources, didn't have the money, didn't have actually anything. And therefore, eventually what was to happen did happen to that venture. The second startup was foolish enough to think about the fact that you can actually create a completely new industry which doesn't exist. So it was what I call a breakaway startup. Remote infrastructure management didn't exist at that time. But the foolishness in that was to assume that actually great ideas, great passion don't need money. So we ran out of fuel.
So when did you decide that it's the right time, I need to exit from this startup?
So when the HCL transformation was complete, today it is $19 billion in market cap. Yeah. When HCL transformation was complete, it was time to move on. And as in the executive capacity, do something else. I read a newspaper article that in one of the states, which I was very closely associated with, children of age group 15 and 16 cannot read maths, cannot add, subtract, mathematics. And it really burned my heart in terms of maths is my passion. But how can that happen? And therefore, I went to the chief minister and saying, give me an opportunity to solve the problem. And like a seed capitalist, I will make the investment in solving the problem. And he said something very interesting to me. He says, do you know the size and scale of the problem? I said, no. He said, there are 250,000 students in the class 1 to 5. So how will you solve the problem? So I said, I don't know how we will solve the problem, but we will. So we went on the ground and did research and found out what's wrong. What needs to be fixed to bring about transformation in the way maths is taught in government schools in India. And we figured out there are 100 reasons, right? Electricity is not there, infrastructure is not there, teachers are not interested, administrator is not interested, students are not interested, parents are not interested. Yeah. So you name an excuse and it was in that document. As an entrepreneur, you have to focus on one thing and one thing only. What is that one thing if we change, the rest will change automatically? And we said if we can get the child to take interest in his own education, everybody around him will start taking interest in that education. So we went to Netherlands and found these colorful tools of how maths is taught to spastic children. Spastic children have short spans of attention. So we brought those colorful tools, we re-engineered them, made them frugal, and then we added what we call gamification on it. We added games on it, and then we added stories on it. So every day the class is trying to save Bhagat Singh. So Bhagat Singh is running 4 trees ahead, the police is here. How do you catch Bhagat Singh? So the teacher moves the police and the students move Bhagat Singh and they're trying to save Bhagat Singh. Right. 17th day of launching that initiative, I got a call from that chief minister and saying, what have you done? I said, what have I done? He says, there is so much interest in learning maths that no student wants to go home and they want to save Bhagat Singh. I've come to the conclusion that actually you need to focus on solving only one thing, but solve it in a way nobody else has solved it before.
Solving a breakout problem, again, you need a lot of resources on your part. It's easy to do it as a second-time entrepreneur or maybe, once you have achieved success, but once you are starting from scratch, so how do you, handle those aspects?
So you're absolutely right. Could I have done the breakaway innovation which we are experimenting in Sampark without having my own seed capital? And could I have done it 27 years ago? I would believe no. And that is the reason the average age of a startup in Bay Area is not 21, it is 39. So that is something which we are completely missing in India. That there is a merit of launching your idea when the timing is right. So I always encourage people that you need to incubate ideas and test it by doing startup in colleges as you are doing. And I think it's an awesome, and that's the reason this program is an awesome program, which is focusing on startups at college. But don't try and make it your life. Give yourself some time to mature in your thinking. You need to create a grid of structured thinking in your mind, of taking option decisions, of finding out how you run your teams. There are lots of complexity because in the end, the startup gets one shot. And there is no point of taking that shot too early. spend a few years, right, discovering yourself, discovering who you want to do something with, discovering what your strength and weakness is, and chiseling that problem statement which you will want to solve. I want to share with you 5 questions and 5 ways you should structure your thinking. And if you do that, my belief is that your probability of success will go up by at least 500%. You are either going to be in the business of solving a unique problem, or you're going to be in the business of solving it uniquely. So therefore, if you try and think about this on 2 axes in terms of what problem are you going to try and solve, and on the other axis is how you're going to solve it. So you either need to have a business idea on the what axis or on the how axis. And in one of those axes will be your competitive advantage. If you spend significant amount of time framing the problem, then you can spend the rest of the time as an entrepreneur in solving the problem. So get your framing the problem right, the business will create magic. What is important is to define who your customer is. Is your customer the end consumer? Is your customer the investor? Is your customer the advertiser? Or is your customer somebody completely different who doesn't exist today? And for that customer, how critical are you? It is very important to frame the reference around who your customer is and how critical are you for that customer, which will define how much premium or how much he will pay for your services. And therefore, if you frame that question in terms of who's going to pay for my services and how much, that will set your cash flow in place and set you up for success. So you need to ask yourself, what are the critical competencies you need which will differentiate you compared to the other service providers or other product providers? And do those competencies exist collectively amongst you? So if 3 of you are coming together, do you create 300 or you create 1? So when you set your team together as a group of promoters, it's very important that each one of them bring to the table competitive differentiator in some competencies. If you don't have it by any chance, then you need to bring in more partners, not employees, and those partners are the people who will bring the competitive differentiators. Startup is such a beautiful place only if people are doing what they want to do. If you try and run it as a large organization of people coming together and doing what you want to do, then it will fail. And therefore, build the competence angle and get people to do what they want to do is a sure recipe of success. Try and build as much variable cost as possible. Try and build as little fixed cost as possible. Get more and more of your vendors, of your employees incentivized on taking on the upside rather than on a steady state basis. And all that you do to try and conserve cash. And how to create cash. Makes immense sense to get a financial partner right in the beginning. Because if you have a financial partner right in the beginning, structured in a way where there is an equity infusion he or she puts in and puts an unsecured debt on top of it. So an equity with an unsecured debt, and that unsecured debt can be converted into equity at a higher valuation over a period of time, you secure yourself. Are you doing it for the money? Are you doing it for the passion? Are you doing it for the fame? Or are you doing it because you have nothing better to do? You must understand there is a limited amount of money, time, energy, equity which you have. And therefore, if you pursue all that towards one direction, that I want to make a lot of money, then build to sell. I want to create fame, then build to last. I want to do it for breakthrough thinking and people have to recognize me, then focus all your money on innovation. It is very important not to try and please everybody at all times. What is that single point objective of the reason we are doing it, and put all your energy, time, money behind it, and that will set you up not only for success, but you will feel very, very good of having done exactly what you wanted to do.
Well, we hope you all take some time to mull over these questions, and if you still think you have what it takes to start up, then go for it. Here's wishing our entrepreneurs all the very best, and thank you, Vineet Nayar, for being with us on the Young Turks Mentor. If you also want to be a part of our next YT Mentor session, then write to us at youngturks@network18online.com. That's all we have for you on this special episode of Young Turks. As always, do send us your feedback, suggestions and comments to youngturks@network18online.com. We always like to hear from you. Stay in touch with our team on Facebook and Twitter. Till next week, from the entire team, goodbye and many thanks for watching.